Hello and welcome back to the Armchairs View. Joining me tonight is Mike, Hickers and Chalky. How are we doing, fellas?
Yeah, good. Yeah, good, thanks.
Good. We're going to kick this week's episode off, starting with a list of our top 5 free agents. So Mike and I have come together and Hickers and Chalky have come together. So we'll start off with you two. Let's throw out your top 5.
Yeah. So, number 1, Kyle Walker-Peters. Obviously, I've got a lot to say about KWP. Chalky, our next one.
Kevin De Bruyne.
So, are you trying to insinuate that you think Kyle Walker-Peters is a better player than Kevin De Bruyne?
No, I'm not.
But right now,
Maybe just because he's cheap, that's more desirable.
He's got age on his side,
He does have age on his side.
Number 3.
Jonathan David. Might spot the Canada shirt at the back.
See, we stuck Premier League there. Number 4.
Calvert-Lewin.
Then number 5.
Number 5 was Thomas Partey.
Ooh. Right, so I'm going to read out ours, or do you want to take it in turns like they did?
We'll take it in turns.
Right.
That's
Number 1.
Collaborative effort.
KDB.
Yeah.
We then went with Thomas Partey in second, as I think he's class, and he's a good player.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Idrissa Gana Gueye.
Technically,
free agent.
It's technically at the moment he still is.
What, when he returned back from PSG?
No, he's free agent at the end of the season.
He's run out of contract.
Oh, I see.
He's run out of contract at the moment with us.
All your 5 run out of contract this season, Hickers. Either that's a complete coincidence or you've nailed this.
We then went with Kyle Walker-Peters at 4. He's a good young player, but...
Then at number 5 we went Kenny Tete.
Nice.
Mike, now you can say your bit about Kyle Walker-Peters being above Kevin De Bruyne on their list.
I just wondered what they thought was an appropriate reason to go, yeah, I think Kyle Walker-Peters is a more desirable player than Kevin De Bruyne.
I mean, I agree with you because we've put Kevin Walker-Peters at 4.
Yeah, so, I'm glad he's made your top 5 as well. I mean, Kyle Walker-Peters obviously announced literally yesterday that he was leaving Saints, and I was absolutely devastated, even though I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
I just think any club that's going to pick up KWP will be incredibly lucky because he is hugely talented and also has an attitude to match.
I'll put it this way. If he signs for Everton, I'll re-record this and I'll completely agree with you. Until that day, I'm sticking with KDB at the top.
You do. I'm
very versatile as well, ain't left back, right back.
Yeah, that absolutely. Got a really good left peg. Scored quite a few goals for us with
so it's Kenny Tete, and we only put him at 5. So I think I can understand your logic with Kyle Walker-Peters coming first, probably because of age and Premier League experience. But if you're looking at sheer quality, Kevin De Bruyne is incredible.
Any Premier League team would be lucky to have him for even just a season.
He was always obviously he's my number 1. I know really KDB is.
I can't believe Chalky let you get away with this. Chalky, you need to have a look at yourself.
Mind you, KDB is probably 25 in the Serie A league.
Well, yes. So even more reason he should be top on yours, isn't it?
I think we had 2 differences, didn't we? Because we had Tete, you didn't, but we had Idrissa Gana Gueye, and you had DCL, because we did talk about DCL, but he's just so injury prone. I don't think many teams are going to pick him up.
That's the same with Kevin De Bruyne at the moment. He's had a lot of injuries recently.
But I think when Kevin De Bruyne plays, he's going to make a difference. Whereas when DCL plays, it takes him 2 or 3 games to get his confidence up and going. Maybe because he's a striker who needs that element of confidence. But
problem with Calvert-Lewin is he did play a lot of games last season, but he goes like 18, 19 games without a goal, and then he'll get 4 and
6,
3, and then.
But is that because he's just not had a run without picking up an injury? Is that fair to say? You'll know better than me.
He played 24 something games, 24, 25 from under Dyche and under Moyes. Problem he had, as soon as Moyes asked him to do a bit more running into the channels, I think he lasted a game and a half.
Okay.
Brighton, he went off injured, and we hardly saw him again. I think he may have come back for the last couple of games, but Beto was the number one striker.
I will say, I think his biggest problem is actually that he didn't become a striker till he was about 18, 19, I think it was, or maybe a little younger. Because when he was in the youth academy coming up, he was a midfielder. And as soon as I learned that, every time I watch him go for on goal, he just seems to put his head down and hit it. And so many good strikers will know where the ball is in their feet. They'll look up, see the keeper, and just go, okay, I'll put it there then. And he hasn't got that element. I mean, the same thing with Beto when he goes for a goal. He puts it to his right foot and puts it to the far post. It's such a downfall if you haven't been a striker for your whole life.
There's lots of strikers you'd put your house on scoring one-on-ones. Calvert-Lewin, unfortunately, if Calvert-Lewin's got one touch, he'll score it most of the time.
Some of the time.
But one-on-ones, he never looks comfortable, and that's the main reason he's not in our top five.
That's interesting you say that. I mean, I just think Premier League clubs will look at Calvert-Lewin and they'll see someone who might be worth gambling on as a free agent because of what he could be if he stays fit.
I think you'll either see a team like Forest, who are going to have a lot more games this season, go for him, or your Leeds, your Burnley.
I don't think Leeds still like their counter-attacking, don't they? I think
quick. They got Joe.
He is, but I don't. He doesn't suit that. He suits the whole play.
Then he played slightly wider for them last season.
Joel Perot.
I thought he came out slightly wider for them last season.
No, he's a sort of target man striker. He's got big, tall chap.
He's never done it in the Premier League.
No, he's very, very established at Championship level, but we know that doesn't always equate.
So I can see why Calvert-Lewin's in. I'm shocked he's above Thomas Partey though. I thought Partey had a fairly steady season for Arsenal.
I'll be honest.
I just think
I forgot what order they in. I remember Calvert-Lewin before I remember Thomas Partey.
I just think strikers are really desirable at the moment, and Calvert-Lewin could be a potential bargain. You look at his stature. He's an absolute physical athlete he's
on a lot of wages though. I think he'll want.
I think if you look at someone like Wood as well, Wood never looked like scoring as many goals as he did this season, and then he flew off the handle. It takes us the right system, maybe.
West Ham could go for
goals.
You showed me if someone like West Ham went for him.
So they had Evan Ferguson, that didn't work out.
No, well, quite a few strikers haven't, have they?
No.
West Ham.
So who else have we got the same? So we've touched on Kyle Walker-Peters, Thomas Partey. To be fair, you said you forgot the order. I think that's it we've got for the same, isn't it? So
Thomas
there's the
Partey,
three.
100% ended up at Marseille.
Why do you say that, Chalky?
Prison FC.
So we've got Idrissa Gueye in there. I'll be honest, I think he's going to sign a contract at Everton. There's a lot of talks coming, or rumours coming out about it. But as it stands, he's a free agent in 5 days. So for now, he's in our top 5. And we won't go too much into him. I think me and Mike have spent quite a lot of time talking about him over the last few episodes. So I think it's clear why we've put him in. The other one we've got is Kenny Tete. I would have had him above Kyle Walker-Peters, much to your dismay, Hickers.
Have I sold PWP enough?
The reason I haven't, or we haven't...
I was going to say, I had him above Tete. I think you were leaning more towards Tete above him, but I think just because Kyle Walker-Peters is a steadfast player, he's always available, he's very rarely injured, whereas Tete has a bit more of that risk about him.
The injuries is the main reason we put him under there, but when he plays, I think he is a fantastic player, but it was a toss-up between those two.
Tete he's really come on as well last few years. You think he's been at Fulham for quite a few years. He was in the Championship with them, in their promotion winning side, and he's
been there 5 years, hasn't he?
Really developed. I just think Kyle Walker-Peters has some fantastic offensive qualities as well, and as you said, very rarely injured. And you can rely on him to do 90 minutes.
I think a lot of Fulham fans gutted that about Tete potentially leaving as well.
I think that's always quite a good sign, isn't it? Obviously, yourself with Walker-Peters, and I've seen quite a few Fulham fans. I think Tete may be playing quite a clever game here though, because allegedly it all came out from about him agreeing a contract with Everton. There's a lot of rumours going on saying it was his agent pushing that out, but.
Might get a pay rise.
I think he'll now probably get more money at Fulham. But
interesting.
We'll see. He might still join Everton, but if not, I'm sure Kyle Walker-Peters will be a good option.
Two really great options there.
I personally think we'll get either of them. It's the Everton way, to be honest.
So Jonathan
linked with them for so long.
Jonathan David, what's your thoughts on him? Because he's from Lille, isn't he?
Yes, he's from Lille. I think he's been one of the most consistent strikers in Ligue 1 for quite some time. You look at his numbers, he's hitting at least 15 goals each season. I think he hit 24, 25 and in one season as well. Left foot, right foot. You know, he's both-footed, very quick, dynamic.
Weren't West Ham linked with him as well?
I think at the moment he's linked with Juve, and I see it's something on Twitter. Apparently, his move's getting delayed at the moment because apparently his agent wants something like 15 mil.
That's the next point I was going to bring up. Yeah, I think I don't know how his attitude is in general, but I know there's a lot of rumours that he's asking for a ridiculous amount of money, which is why I could see him
like his
ending up
agent though, like just trying to like rinse him. But like Juve, like I said, they're not the club they once were anymore. Well, I don't know if they got that much.
I think his agents are stealing a living at the minute, aren't they? Because Wirtz is just signed for Liverpool. I think his parents got like 9 million almost.
Yeah.
Wow.
As his agent. So I think agents are playing a massive part in this summer's transfer window. Is there anyone we haven't mentioned that you think might be worth a shout? I know that obviously Vardy's out. Kurt Zouma is also a free agent, the kitty kicker.
Another Marseille signing.
Yeah, I've made a few more mentions. You've got Nelson Semedo, another right back who's out of contract. Yeah, at Wolves.
He was skipper for Wolves as well, wasn't he?
He's another fantastic option. Yeah, skipper. I think you got Serge Reguilon.
Is that Tottenham?
Tottenham.
Reguilon,
He's got a lot of experience.
He's a very good wing back, but I think when Tottenham have this mad thing where they sign very, very good wing backs, like when they sold back to Wolves, I can't remember his name. Doherty. Excellent wing backs. And they try and play him as an out-and-out right back or left back, and it just doesn't work. Like Reguilon is a really good wing back.
Yeah,
but he struggled at United and Brentford though, didn't he? He went on loan to both, and I don't think he pulled up any trees. I think one of them would have signed him if he pulled up any trees.
There's one other who I'm intrigued hasn't been mentioned by you two. What about Abdoulaye Doucouré?
I thought you were going to say Michael Keane.
What? I like Michael Keane.
We do a whole podcast about what we've released, but
I think it's quite easy to talk about Everton in this part because I think we're releasing like 13 players and able to agree contracts with a few of them. Doucouré, I think if Everton want to move forward, they need a more technical player in that position. But
is he not technical? He looks pretty skillful with his feet to me.
No, the problem with him is at his elements are running, desire, and determination. Okay. If you can't fault his spirit or his heart, you can fault both of his feet. He occasionally does something really good. His volley against Bournemouth was brilliant. His finish against Forest this season was good. He does. But the thing is, they're his only moments.
Yeah,
it's their big moments because they do pop up in the right moment.
No, that's harsh.
But sometimes he just has, like he had a very good game against Brighton in our 2 years ago, beating 5-1, 2 cracking goals.
The problem is with Doucouré, like he'll run all day for you, but he won't. I think the best thing I can say is when Charlie Alcaraz plays in that role, you see different passes being made and different outlets are open because of that.
It's moving the game so much more smooth.
So Alcaraz won't put in the work. Well, certainly from my perspective at Saints, he will not work back.
I don't know.
He will work forward. He's a bundle of energy offensively.
I would say he's improved in that then because every time I've watched him, especially when he loses the ball, I don't know when he doesn't lose the ball, but when he loses the ball, he runs back.
I think maybe sometimes that's down to the man management, isn't it? So if a manager says to him, have a go at him when he loses the ball, it knocks him down, or certainly players like that. Where if you look, when you lose it, I don't care if you're trying something nice, if you do it, that's fine. Work back and get it back, and then there's no issue. Just lose the ball, try and get it back.
Going back to Doucouré, I think he'd be a great signing for a team in the lower half of the league.
He'd be a good Burnley. Let's say Burnley.
I think he'll end up in a Saudi or somewhere like that. I think he'll get one more, 31.
I think if he gets a Saudi move, I think something like China move if he can.
He's one that I'd say he's left. He announced early he was leaving. They couldn't agree a contract. I think fair enough. Shake your hand. Good luck. I hold no ill feeling towards him.
No,
Calvert-Lewin is slightly different. I feel like he's strung the club along a bit, especially when the club have stuck by him through the injuries he's had. But from all the noises I've heard anything, it's just what I read on Twitter. Calvert-Lewin still has always trained quite well, so in that regard he's been professional, but I think he let the club down a little bit. He could have announced earlier he was leaving.
Thing is, if he didn't know he wanted to leave, he's got to know what you want to do first. If he wanted to stay and it was the contracts were frustrating him because he didn't want to leave, then he's not going to announce he wants to leave because he doesn't want to leave.
I think a few other free agents this summer, you've got Asmir Begovic, João Virginia, Michael Keane, and these so far all coming from Everton, so that tells you how many players they're releasing. I tell you one club who didn't release many players or didn't have many on that contract I thought would was Chelsea. I had a look at their...
They've all got
Yeah,
12-year contracts. They'll have a loan run out in about 5 years.
How are they going to keep going with all this? But sticking to the free agents, we have each done, so we didn't pick sides on this one, we have each done a top 5 Premier League free agent ever. So we're going to sort of say our lists and then we'll get into a discussion, but just quickly before we touch on that, if you're listening on Spotify, I'm going to put a poll underneath on whose free agents you think are better. So I'm just going to quickly run through that again just so the vote is a bit more clear. So Hickers and Chalky had Kyle Walker-Peters, Kevin De Bruyne, Jonathan David, Dominic Calvert-Lewin and Thomas Partey. Mike and I had Kevin De Bruyne, Thomas Partey, Idrissa Gana Gueye, Kyle Walker-Peters and Kenny Tete. So please vote and let us know if you think anyone else should have made the top 5. I'll also put that on TikTok because we do alright on TikTok, lads.
As long as someone doesn't like what we've said, yeah, we do very well.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people not agreeing, but hey, football's all about opinions. So if we start with Chalky, Hickers, Mike, then
We just
me.
going to do one each and then...
Yeah, just
our
read out
list.
your 5 and then we'll criticise each other afterwards, I'm sure.
So, I did go Demba Ba until
I'm adamant he had an 800k signing.
So if that's the case, I only have 4.
Well, keep them Babar.
No, Demba Ba,
yeah.
yeah.
That's to Newcastle, yeah?
To Newcastle.
To Newcastle, yeah.
Keep him because he's on mine.
Hickers, didn't do your research well enough, mate.
I know, clearly.
Then I had Thiago Silva at Chelsea. I think he was solid.
That's not a bad shout.
For Chelsea.
Oh, that's a great shout.
I think Ibra to United. I think he scored something like 17 goals.
I feel like that was more about aura because I saw him on a few lists.
No,
and
he
was
was quality.
He was good, but ever like I just what are you looking at?
Your team.
I
I haven't got a team. I've got 5
I think
players.
mainly because you remember more recent times, don't you? And then I gone Milner to Liverpool from City because he was solid the whole way through. And then my number 1 is probably Sol Campbell to Arsenal from Spurs.
I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
If
How could it not be?
yeah, I think he might be at the top of most of ours. Hickers?
Yeah, so I've actually gone for 4 and 5 to Leicester free transfers.
Oh, I think
Mark
I-
Albrighton
Yeah, I saw.
and Christian Fuchs.
I've got
Oh,
a different Leicester player.
Really?
Yeah, carry on.
Anyway, well, they're both brought in and both obviously regular players in that Leicester Premier League winning side. Third place for me goes to Demba Ba. Second is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and then number 1 Sol Campbell. But there are quite a few other names.
I'm glad to know that I've got a few you haven't got.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
So I started with a little bit of bias and Gareth Barry because
It's
Oh,
your 5th for
solid.
you.
he is 5th. Yeah.
3rd for me.
Well,
criticise
I
Gareth
have James Milner in 3rd only because he's 8 years out of a player and he was a very good professional
He's
for.
Left back.
Yeah, I know,
right
but
back,
that's because
centre mid.
I'm tiny. I put Barry in for my bias because I had to put a Liverpool player in. 4th, I did have JJ Okocha. A few lists I looked on, he was there. Again, he was a little before my time, but I looked into him in a couple of clips and he looked like quite a good player.
Oh, he
For
was
Bolton.
unreal.
And then the early noughties he went was amazing. Sol Campbell is number 2 because he was, again, it was a little bit before my time, but my number 1 was Ballack.
Yeah.
I loved Ballack.
Did
for
you listen
Chelsea.
to the
He was
pod last week?
amazing.
Ballack
Don't
took a
think
bit of
he-
criticism.
Did he? Why is that?
Don't think
Yeah.
he ever won Champions League? Did he?
No.
Every team we went to, they lost out
He-
on that season.
He won the Premier League with
I
them.
think
something
you're
like
right, yeah, because
Yeah, he did.
Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just
Just
he's
left-
such a good
he left
player.
Leverkusen
He's
and they won it, did
couple
they?
of absolute
Yeah, same with
spectacular
Chelsea.
free
I
kicks
think
and
it's
stuff.
a couple of years after, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like
Yeah, I just really like. I love Ballack. So he's-
My top 5, I've got Ruud Gullit to Chelsea at 5. Again, I didn't see a lot of them, just highlights and clips. 4th, I've got Esteban Cambiasso to Leicester, so that was the Leicester move.
Yeah.
3rd, I've got Gareth Barry. 2nd, I've got JJ Okocha.
Okay.
And 1st, I don't like the man, but Sol Campbell.
He's
'cause
very arrogant, isn't he? But you.
An interesting character. That's
Yeah, he's
It's a
certainly
really
thinks-
solid centre-back.
certainly-
Really polite way to say wanker, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Should we touch on Campbell? Because I think we all had Campbell in.
We all had Campbell in there, don't we?
What's your thoughts on Campbell?
He plays his cards, doesn't he? That reckons he should have been England captain. He should have been Ballon d'Or winner or something stupid. He's had some
United.
comments. Yeah, all this
United.
crap because of. I mean, to a degree, there is probably an element of truth in what he says, but he certainly plays up to like a petulant child who's missed out on a toy.
I don't know if there is. I don't. Well, how many other players have been knighted?
Oh, knighted? No. I mean, like, he's, England captain or whatever, saying what he was. He was a good player. I said a bit before my time,
but who was the captain around Campbell's time? Was it, Beckham, wasn't it? And then who took over after Beckham? Was it John Terry? But I'm sure then Campbell was.
I think we had
was done, wasn't he?
That's a good question. I think it was Terry. You're right.
Yeah, I think Beckham
Terry was there for a long time, wasn't he?
And then was it Gerrard after that? So
Gerrard,
I know Campbell had then finished by then.
Yeah, and then to Brody,
I just think Campbell, hell of a player, but.
It depends how he was in the change room. So if he was like that in the change room, and it depends how you are. I think if you're the kind of player that goes, points your fingers, how dare you play like that, I wouldn't want that as a captain. I know you had them Roy Keanes and stuff that you kicked people like the arse and stuff, but I much prefer a kind of Tino that goes, look, and pulls you up and says, come on, get on with it, brush it off, next one. I don't think he's that kind of man.
I still think it's, even today, one of the most controversial transfers there's ever been.
Didn't it come out of nowhere as well?
Yeah, I think it came out of nowhere. You're absolutely right, he completely blindsided Spurs fans. I think he pretty much had convinced them that he was going to stay.
I'm surprised he's not your
and then
number
suddenly,
one.
It did amuse me. That I love the advert he did about, what was it, a few years ago? We're taking off the white jumper and stuff.
365 Paddy Power.
That I must admit, I almost put my number one just for that advert. But
that does not happen often, where you cross the
yeah.
border to
Direct
your arch rivals.
Yeah, direct crossing.
Playing devil's advocate, to be fair, it was a very justified career move for him, wasn't it? I mean, Arsenal were the team of the time.
The thing is, at that point, it was them or United, wasn't it? So,
well, yeah, it was,
I think
absolutely. But Arsene Wenger had something exciting building there at Arsenal, didn't he?
What do you think of Campbell, Chalky?
I think he goes under the radar because obviously you had Ferdinand and Terry. I reckon he's probably a bit better than Ferdinand. I reckon. Like, was he next to Carlo Torre the whole way through the Invincibles? I'm pretty sure he was.
I believe so, but
I just find that it's impossible to decide which centre back was better because they all had different qualities. Yeah. I think in terms of like physical qualities, Campbell was possibly one of the fastest Premier League players I've seen.
Strong as well.
Strong. Centre backs need a balance, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think, in just my opinion, you need an enforcer and you need someone that's calm on the ball and can play out from the back.
You need someone that you can latch onto the big boy and give him a dig in the ribs and a hard game, and someone that will sweep up behind.
I would say Campbell fell short of both Terry and Ferdinand in the retrospective qualities, so he may have been better all round, if it makes sense, but I think the partnership between Terry and Ferdinand was great at bringing the ball out, passing out from the back, and
Terry was just such an intelligent player. He's always in the right place.
He had a max speed of about 3 miles an hour, but always seemed to be in the right place. Yeah. He was absolutely very clever.
He would take the ball to the face, to the bollocks. He wasn't.
And he had a knack of finding space
and scoring
in
goals.
the box as well and scoring.
He had goals. He had goals. So one of the highest scoring defenders in history.
I'll be honest. I'm in agreement with you there. I think for me, if I'm pushed, I'd have Ferdinand and Terry.
That's what I think. But I don't know if I'm slightly biased because Campbell does really annoy me with the interviews he does and stuff, and just
he's got a very high opinion of himself.
Yeah, and I'm not.
A lot of players do though, doesn't it? Just the way he talks about himself is grinding to most people.
I certainly don't think there's much between all three of them though.
No, I would agree with that. So I don't have James Milner. To be fair, he probably is a bit unlucky because I think this move to Liverpool has obviously worked out
all over, like left back, right back, centre mid.
And won it all.
Right mid.
Obviously, you three had him. So just do you want to touch on him a bit more, Chalky, before?
Yeah, I just think, like I say, the time that he was there cost no money. Like I say, he's covered. I think he played left back for a season. Covered for Trent.
He cost wages, but I don't think his wages were too appalling, weren't they either? So some free transfers like the Zlatans and stuff. His wages have been through the roof because he was free.
Liverpool pay a lot of wages in general.
Possibly, yeah, but I still think Milner was on the lower end.
Potentially.
Saying that, he came from City, so he might have had a bump from City and then a bump.
He was always available though, wasn't he?
Yeah,
not often he was injured.
That's something about a player is just
he used
so
to
valuable.
He used to do that fitness test every year, and he'd like smash it every year. Like he'd come first, and
he used to beat his own records, didn't he?
Yeah,
he's still going now. Brighton might renew his deal.
I don't blame them. He's such a great example to young players. Why wouldn't you want to have him in your squads? Just to go, well, look, he's nearly 40. Come on.
I think Milner, he's still got
2-3 more
got
years.
a lot to
Probably,
offer
yeah.
on the pitch.
It pains me to say it.
And that's through years of
Would you
conditioning.
take him at Everton?
No,
No,
Not a
just because he's the
chance.
next Liverpool
yeah,
player.
not a chance. I'd rather get Ashley Young back.
God no.
Thing is that he's,
No.
That's with all the right backs that are available.
He was only good because Dyche kept playing him, and he still made loads of errors.
yeah, I just don't think the amount.
Just because his name's young doesn't mean he still plays like
the
it.
amount of
Actually,
games he played and, like I say, the versatility. I think, like I say, that's well worth just the wages alone. Like I say, he's done so much for that team.
Probably didn't get many shirt sales, but you know.
No,
Just going to touch briefly on Cambiasso, and I may have got this stat wrong. I don't think so, but he was never sold. He always went to free transfers. So he went from Madrid
Really?
to Inter Milan as a free transfer. He was at Inter Milan for
Interesting.
10 years, won everything.
It's quite
he could
iconic there, yeah.
So you can only give him away.
Came into Leicester and was pivotal in keeping them up, and obviously we all know what happened the next year. So that's why Cambiasso.
I was going to say, I think he featured more heavily the season before,
Yeah.
but
Well, he left, didn't he? He came in for 1 year and then left, and
Yeah.
he went to Olympiacos afterwards.
that's right.
Because there was Drinkwater, Kante, and someone else.
So he
in there,
made
and so they-
30.
Yeah.
Well, they replaced him with Kante, so that's another reason he's
Mm.
in this list. He knew who to step aside for, didn't he? So,
You can't blame him. Kante's class.
so I'm just trying to think who else
I
everyone had. So
obviously
I
had the Leicester boys.
We
Do
had
you want to
uh,
touch on
Fuchs
them?
and
Yeah, welcome back,
Albright.
Leicester.
Yeah, I mean, they were regular players, weren't they? In that they had a very settled starting 11 throughout that Premier League campaign, and you know and because of that sort of togetherness and unity, they won a lot of games 1-0, didn't they?
Mm.
Especially at home, and they were big parts of that. Yeah, and Albrighton, to be fair, contributed quite a lot with the goals and
A lot.
assists.
He
I mean,
has a
obviously
very-
Vardy,
hit the ball and dink it in the box, doesn't he? He just hits the
Mm.
ball. It's simple
Yeah,
but
very good
highly
cross.
effective.
yeah,
I almost thought he was always quite a throwback winger. Like, where
Mm.
he'd just get to the byline and put it in.
I agree.
He didn't
Kept-
try too
Same
much.
sort of
He
like
let
Shaun White
Mahrez
Phillips
do the
and-
trickery,
Yeah.
Vardy do his thing. He kept his game simple.
That whole Leicester team
Yes.
they knew what they could do, and
They
they had 3 or 4 players that just had amazing
Yeah.
seasons, which all
That-
tied together
is
with
he
the Mahrez,
Japanese?
the
I
Vardy,
agree.
the Kante.
That's the one. I liked him.
Because it was Huthen. Who was their centre backs?
Where's Morgan?
It was Wes
Yeah,
Morgan.
Captain Morgan.
Morgan and Huth, they both had excellent seasons.
They did.
I think the season following they were wobbly after that, but that season they were there and they were.
You, to be fair, you could go
Yeah.
through that whole Leicester team and say how outstanding they were, but Albrighton and Fuchs on I think Fuchs was there for a long time as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
MLS
so-
now.
Is he still playing?
I think it might not be right this season, but I know recently he was in MLS.
Jesus. Gareth Barry, Mike, do you want to touch on why he's in your...
Just Gareth Barry. Well, I say a free, and he was our captain for a little bit, wasn't he? On not our club captain, but when Coleman didn't play, he was captain, wasn't he? a couple
Yeah,
of
he
times.
captained the side
Yeah.
a few times.
I just think a player you get for like say for Milner, zero cost, and he came in and he was just the perfect defensive midfielder. He just carried the ball, passed it, spread it, kept it ticking over, and then when he needed to, he's got a tactic named after him, the Gareth Barry foul. He just did it so perfectly every time. Just pull me back.
Have either of you two ever had a Gareth Barry foul? No, I've heard of a professional foul.
I definitely call it a Gareth Barry foul. I'm sure I've heard you say the Gareth Barry foul.
Please, if anyone has heard of a Gareth Barry foul before, please
Trip
get in
or
touch.
something. The counter's on. Trip, pull, something.
I could name you 10 players who do fouls
No,
like
not
that.
as well as Gareth Barry. He was
Maybe
amazing.
not, and I think
Amazing at
he
it.
was very clever at it, but I think
How many years was it at you?
2 or 3.
4 years, I
Was it more
think.
than 4?
Yeah, coming on loan and then signed for free in
Mm.
the summer. And I think he signed for us at like 33, but he was incredible.
Did he retire at Everton?
No, he went to West Brom.
He had a spell at West Brom.
Yeah, so I think his
Yeah.
legs. I know he was never the quickest, but by the time he went to West Brom, I think his legs had truly gone. But what a player, I think.
Mm.
The thing is, sometimes if you're just sitting in that 6, you don't always need that legs, do you? If you've got 2 6s, you can have someone just literally sitting.
And at Everton, he
Someone
played
dribbling
next to
around.
James McCarthy, who had legs to run
Yeah,
up and
of
down all
course.
day.
He was a wild centre holding mid though. He would just fly into a tackle.
Gareth Barry was signed for you, if I remember correctly. I think it was between you and Sim, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he made the right decision, didn't he?
I think
a bit savvy.
he was linked, I'm pretty sure, when we lost Alonso. I'm pretty sure it was. Then
Yeah.
we signed Alberto Aquilani instead, and that never worked out.
How did he not, mate? Like, did we done like a top 5 flops? How was he not? I feel disappointed in myself for not mentioning him now. Shall we touch a little bit on Brentford? Because it looks like they're set to appoint Keith Andrews as manager. What are our thoughts on that?
Well, he's been assistant manager at a few places, isn't it? MK Dons, Sheffield United and Ireland, he's been assistant manager.
I thought he was a set-piece coach.
He was set-piece coach at Brentford most recently, but I'm pretty sure he was assistant manager at Sheffield United, Ireland and MK Dons were his first managerial positions, but they obviously had an assistant. Yeah, he was a set-piece coach for them. Because that's what baffled me when I was looking into him. He seems to have been assistant manager a couple of places and then a set-piece coach at Brentford. It's almost like a weird... almost a little bit step back, sort of like maybe he was trying to go somewhere. I think and then he's gone for the big job.
A few coaches have done that. Charlie Adam done that coming at us. He's managed somewhere coming at set piece coach. I think it's because you're involved in training, but not constantly. I think you can sit back, watch, and learn off another manager.
A bit more.
But you've then still got your specialised bit. Yeah. So I think that potentially may be why he's done it. So if he has learned a fair bit of Thomas Frank, then we're in for a good season for Brentford. But
as long as they recruit right,
I worry for Brentford this year.
Yeah, I'm very worried as well. I think Keith Andrews is a huge risk. I mean, it would be difficult for any experienced manager to come in and replace Thomas Frank, especially with the exodus of players that are now following suit.
Exactly, because I think you've got Norgard who's leaving, you've got Mbremo who's leaving. I'd be shocked if no one comes in for Wissa.
I'd be very surprised if someone's coming for Wissa. Getting the amount of goals he does, that's a very rare thing.
Tough season, and I know we've touched on him previously when Thomas Frank actually left, but now we know Keith Andrews, so it's like he's coming in.
Is it sometimes the fact that he's had the advantage of going to and say, look, I know the lads, we've got a good rapport, I can get them to play the way, blah blah blah, and then maybe they've gone, well, look, let's have a little chat with the lads. If it is a case of he's got them behind him, we can try this.
Brentford are very data orientated, so I'd imagine they've looked at. I don't really understand how you get data into an assistant manager, but to say Thomas Frank was one of their assistant managers, wasn't he? So.
Don't honestly. When the owners said Nathan Jones, that the metrics were perfectly aligned, and look what happened there.
He's done well at Stoke. Is it? No, it's not Stoke.
No, he was a disaster at Stoke.
Oh, I've messed up.
Luton Town and then Charlton Athletic.
Thank you, Charlton. No, that bit is getting cut.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is. It won't be in the show. I know I'm repeating myself. I think Brentford are gone. Like, I know it's early.
That's early days. I think there's a lot.
I hope there's more of a battle this year because the bottom three was wrapped up like 5 games to go. The league title was wrapped up. I just hope there's more of a battle with both ends of the table this season because it was just
26th of June 2025. I'll tell you now, Brentford are going down next season.
They've still got some good players. I don't think they're going to sell everyone.
You've got Nathan Jones. Nathan Collins. Sorry, he's good.
Damsgaard,
team of the year.
Mikael Damsgaard is an incredibly good player.
He was involved in a lot of goals.
Yeah, brilliant.
How long can teams keep losing players and managers?
I think it'll be hard for them to continue the period of success they've had. Put it that way. I think they're going to be in trouble.
Well, they've just signed a dodgy keeper as well, haven't they? And made that joke last time.
Yeah. I worry for them just for his butterfingers.
I don't understand why they would have sold Flecking.
Yeah, I don't understand. We don't know in
really good season.
Yeah. And it was for
the thing is, to go Leverkusen. I think it's probably last year contract though, wasn't it? And if you go to Leverkusen, that's like you're probably like second, third best team in Germany.
Yeah,
so
if he thinks he's starting as well, it's Champions League football. Why not?
So I've had a little dig into managers who their first ever managerial career job was in the Premier League. There's a couple of interim like Giggs, Carrick that I didn't mention, but I've got Southgate, who was at Middlesbrough, was there for 3 years, eventually took him down. Tim Sherwood at Tottenham, I'd say done okay, wasn't brilliant. Gary O'Neill at Bournemouth, I'd actually say probably was a success. I know he wasn't sacked, but he went on to do...
Was it unfairly sacked at Bournemouth and then...
it was a real eye-opening decision at the time, but they had new owners, didn't they? They had new American investors, they wanted their own man. Yeah, so he was kind of a victim of circumstance.
Was it Iriola?
Yeah.
Worked out perfectly.
Oud Hullet was actually player manager at Chelsea and won the FA Cup.
Yeah, before
and then probably a bit harsh, I've put him in, but Alan Shearer as well.
Ooh. Yeah, sorry, Alan. That was a bad.
I think
10 games.
I don't think that is harsh. Yeah, because they were.
I think it was 8
But they were
games, wasn't it?
falling at the time, and they wanted him to be a parachute. It just wasn't going to work. If they'd been able to sign him at 26 and put him on the pitch, he might have been a bit more helpful.
They were hoping that the Messiah was going to pull them out the mire, but
rally the troops or something.
Do you think
you can't blame
the mentality
really
was
for
gone? I think at that point when
Do
they
you
were
think
free-falling.
if he came in earlier, he'd kept him up? I know it's going back a long time, but do you think he'd kept him up if
Who-
he'd come in earlier?
who's that?
Shearer.
No.
He was playing like Jonas Gutierrez at left back, wasn't he? So he was doing some questionable stuff. But I think he, from what he said from podcasting that he's done, I've listened to, he tried to be quite strict, and then Joey Barton asked him for a couple of things. He let him off, and then was sterner on him, and then Joey Barton got sent off, missed the rest of the season. So I don't think he managed the dressing room well, just based off what he said.
Can anyone manage Joey Barton, to be fair?
I'm not a fan of Joey Barton and his views. I'm guessing someone around this table might like his views, but I'm not going to mention names.
He's controversial, but he can be amusing, I guess.
So I think Southgate done okay at Middlesbrough. I think the year he went down, he lost like Mark Schwarzer. Mine's gone blank. There's a couple other
You named
players.
3 good players.
I did,
I thought
Boateng,
he spent a fair bit of money
Boateng,
at Barrow.
yeah.
He spent a fair bit of money. I swear they broke the bank for a striker, a Brazilian striker,
Alfonso
Alves.
Yeah.
And he was shocking.
Didn't score many, but didn't he score like a hat-trick against City?
Yeah, I think he
once?
had one like
Didn't he?
freak game, but he was awful, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, Southgate's going to
Was
do
he
okay
at the helm when Middlesbrough battered City 8-1?
Yeah, I think
Was
that's
that
when Alfonso got a hat-trick.
Yeah.
We might be wrong, but I'm fairly sure.
I was going to say 8-1. There's a few opportunities there to get a goal, isn't there?
City before dodgy money was.
Mm.
Sherwood. Does anyone really remember Sherwood?
I do,
Yeah, a little bit.
because his first game when he took over at Spurs was against Southampton, I'm pretty sure, and they beat us 3-2. And I think he came in, and to be fair to him, he simplified things at Spurs. He suddenly brought in Adebayor out of the blue.
Yeah, he did. You're right.
And
'cause
he got
been bombed,
he
hadn't
got some goals out of Adebayor, but I don't think he was ever a manager who was going to then. He wasn't progressive. He wasn't going to take Spurs on for the long term.
I think he started to sort of introduce him, but wouldn't start him with it. He played him in Europe, but not so much in the Premier League. But I think the main thing I remember him at Spurs for was, do you remember he gave his gilet to a fan in the last game of the season and let him come and sit? I think he knew he was going, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he was taking a bit of stick from his fan, so he said, right, come on then, and then let him in. So
He got another job though, Sherwood.
Villa,
and that was a
disaster.
yeah. He was at the helm when we beat them 6-1.
Was that his
Had to
last
get it
job?
Sorry, I did. Yeah, you
I
heard
think
that
it
right.
was-
Saints beat Villa.
I don't think he got another gig after that.
I don't think he did. No, now he's a dodgy.
I think
pundit on Sky.
some of these like managers now, though, like they went into football is slowly changing, and they're quite old school players, and I just don't think. I mean, that's why managers like Mourinho and that struggle now, because it's all old school and football is just forever evolving.
I think Mourinho does still fairly well. He's still very, very knowledgeable about the rules and
Definitely
tactics
about
and
that.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, it's very old school
management-wise.
sit up of structure and
But if you talk to players who have played under him, some of them adore him.
But that's old Chelsea size. But like now, like, he's still going. Like I just think maybe some of his man management and other things now are probably a bit dated.
With
Well, I think-
modern players.
I think that leads us brilliantly on to our next topic this week, because we've got players falling out with managers / clubs, and I think Mourinho, if I'm not wrong, fell out with Pogba in quite a big way, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I think Pogba won that one because Mourinho got sacked. I mean, I know who I'd have backed in that situation, because I think Mourinho's probably done the best with United since Alex
second,
Ferguson.
didn't they?
And he said that was his greatest ever achievement, and I think people mocked it at the time. Look at them now.
Yeah.
So, can you think of anyone else who have had massive
Although-
falling outs?
Just sorry, on that point, they did rob Southampton of the cup final. We were far better, but Ibrahimovic, who we've mentioned
He
earlier,
was offside as well, wasn't he?
yeah,
I think, yeah.
Oh, VAR.
yeah, we were robbed. So anyway,
Didn't they?
still bitter.
They beat Palace, didn't they, as well in a cup? Wasn't that controversial? So I think that might have been under Van Gaal, actually. I'm sure there was a bit of controversy around that. I remember Punchin scoring, and then Lingard, I think, maybe.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's slightly off topic. The main player who comes to my mind who have fallen out with clubs is Roy Keane.
He fell out with everybody.
Well,
His
do you remember
teammates as well.
he got sent home from the Ireland squad, or he left the Ireland squad for an
Yes.
McCarthy. He
That
fell
was
out
a
with
big,
Ferguson.
big thing at the time, wasn't it? Because he
Yeah.
was the linchpin of that Irish national team.
He's their best player. He's no, I was going to say he's debatably their best ever player. He's not. Modern times, he's debatably their best ever player.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a contradiction, isn't it? Of modern day era, I'll word that. And he fell out with Ferguson, didn't he?
I
And
wouldn't
he's,
call him modern though.
well, it depends. I didn't want to go as far back as other players, but
But I think sometimes that's the element, isn't it? You just got to have a cool head as a player as well. You've got to accept that sometimes you're not going to like what your
Choose
boss
your battles.
Yeah, you're not going to like what your boss or your club are saying or something. You just got to go, oh, whatever.
Ferguson fell out with a few though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Ferguson definitely.
Yeah, but you had to toe the line with Ferguson.
I think, I say Ferguson was, fortunate's the wrong word, but he couldn't do what he done now, and I think that's an opinion of a lot, because
Yeah.
especially with the aura that Man United had back then, he could sign whoever he wanted. He could afford to chuck away David Beckham, he could afford to chuck away
But not when
Roy Keane and just go, I'll just get someone else.
not when he came in. He built that.
To be fair, the point maybe Mike's trying to make is he wanted to sort of control a lot of personal aspects of players' lives.
Beckham's hair, didn't he? It's to shave that off. He's got to have a little bit of personality, haven't you? As Roy Keane said, give me a personality.
Well, to be fair, Cantona was a personality, and he actually made exceptions for Cantona, didn't he?
I think he had his favourites,
personality.
Was he a big personality? He just
Really was, yeah. He had some antics.
He was
off
explosive.
The pitch,
off the pitch, maybe, but on the pitch he was always quite. He just turned up, simple haircut. It was, he didn't like Beckham was always quite obviously extravagant with his haircuts.
He'd done well out of Keane for like 8 years, didn't he? I don't know how long Keane was at United, but it just always seemed to come to an abrupt. Other than Cantona, it seemed to, because I know he fell out with Rooney a few times. Don't know if he ever fell out with Ronaldo, but he's probably knew how good Ronaldo was. So
Well, it's interesting that you look at when you see Ronaldo interact with Ferguson, like he becomes like a little boy again.
yeah.
Like, when do you ever see Ronaldo like that? He is like God to everyone, but when he sees Ferguson, he's like the little boy at Manchester United.
He went to United at 18, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went to Madrid at, was it 24, 25?
Yeah.
A bit younger? So it was at the very early stages of his
Oh,
career.
he was
still very young.
far younger than that. What, United?
Yeah, he was 18.
I think, 18.
He
Sorry,
signed at 18
yeah.
and he left when he was 24.
Yeah,
Something like that.
About
so
that.
there's obviously the pinnacle of his youth when he went there as a start in his career was under Ferguson. So obviously sees him as very much as that guy brought him in and brought him up in England, footballing wise, of course, and then went to, maybe he was there just long enough to not have a falling out with him because, like I said, because he just was so bloody good. He would just do what he wanted.
The only other manager people seem to treat like that though is Wenger. I've seen a few players be like that with Wenger, but there's not many. But even with Mourinho, the players who love him don't sort of care.
Frank, Drogba, all of them. They all love Mourinho, and even like I think the Inter lads, they all love him as well. Like
I think as well sometimes I get admittedly going back to Ronaldo, but some players who work so damn hard in training, like you can say Ronaldo, whenever he was turn up there at 6 a.m. and Ronaldo was already there doing drills. Managers will love that. You can always give them a bit more slack a player if they've got a bit of turning up with his stupid haircuts and go, wow, he's there at 5 a.m. training. You do what he likes at that element. Do you know what I mean? So managers will like it when you work hard in training.
Yeah.
So they give you a bit more of, if you're going to turn up a stupid car or like you say, bleach your hair or something, look, that's fine. You're still coming at 5 a.m. training and you're still leaving at 6 p.m. It's you're working hard.
Not every United manager liked Ronaldo though, did they?
No.
Ten Hag,
yeah. But
although completely different set of circumstances, and actually, I thought Ten Hag managed that situation incredibly well. That was tough, isn't it? You got the GOAT, one of the best players. Okay, maybe not the GOAT. I'm Team Messi on that note. But you know what I'm saying.
CR7.
No,
Let's not go there just yet.
As a child, that
we'll save that. We'll save that debate for another week.
But you know, he came into United, had a really good first season back, didn't he? He scored lots of goals, but let's be honest, he wasn't a guaranteed starter in that second season.
No, we touched on it before, didn't we? I think me and you had a conversation in the previous pod that if he would have accepted that he was only coming on for 20 minutes, half an hour, which he never will accept,
no,
he would potentially still be at United playing it.
How many goals did he get in that season though?
I personally think that's why
Was it 18,
Portugal won't
20?
go very far in any tournaments because that
the
reason.
second season,
They just
I'm
won
not
one,
sure.
No, well,
Yeah, I know, but
I think if you can't
what
say a
was it,
player
Nations
scoring
League?
nearly 20 goals a season
Yeah.
is a 20-minute come-on play, you've got to have it. He's going to do something for you.
Touching on your point, Chalky, I agree with you. They're not going to win a major tournament with Ronaldo playing, but he did come off in that Nations League game, didn't he?
Well, yeah, you can argue they've just won one, to be fair, and they beat Spain, arguably the best team.
Yeah,
I'd rather win a cup down Stoneham.
the Nations League.
Yeah.
I don't know about
Well,
that.
fair point.
You wouldn't want to win the Nations League?
It's glorified friendlies, isn't it?
So
Well, Ronaldo definitely wanted to win it. You see his reaction at the end.
my favourite falling out was Peter Odemwingie at West Brom.
Was that
Turn up at the car park.
Who
wasn't
was
it?
the manager?
QPR?
Was it-
Harry Redknapp?
was it? Oh, at
Who
QPR.
he tried
Oh,
to sign for was Harry Redknapp,
yes,
wasn't
yes. He turned up and then it didn't happen.
it? Yes, I can't. Was it Tony?
Tony
Mowbray?
was it Tony Pulis at West Brom
Yeah,
at that
sorry.
point?
Oh, I said Moby. Yeah, Tony Pulis.
Yeah.
God, I'm going to do that to Pulis after a few
Oh.
stories I've heard about him. Headbutting Beattie in the showers and stuff like that. I think he was quite another strict, old-fashioned type
Yeah.
manager.
Yeah, but I think there's old-fashioned, strict, and headbutting someone. There's two different things. There's there's finding someone a large amount of money and assault is two completely different ends.
Good lad.
Well, Beattie, you like Beattie?
I do like James Beattie.
Yeah.
And if you ever want to come on this podcast, you live local to us, we'll see you then.
Up the Beattie.
I would hate Odemwingie if he'd done that at my club, but if he was doing it for my club, I think you'd just say, yeah, mate, like, you obviously want to be here. It takes a set of stones though, doesn't it? Just turn up at a training club and no permission, no nothing.
It's unbelievable.
It makes you
really.
wonder
Wasn't-
what his agents told him though. Like, surely he's
Yeah,
been given
that's-
some sort of
Some
information.
sort of
Without
nudge
doubt.
of go on,
I think-
it'll be fine.
He thought he could push it through, didn't he? And I think it had the opposite effect. So
I've got another iconic fallout. Can we remember Adebayor's celebration?
Oh, that's-
Man
Did he
City,
start at the club
Arsenal.
or did he just wind up his old club?
Sprinting the length of the pitch,
Scoring for City, wasn't it?
knee slide
did he
in
fall
front of the
out?
Arsenal
I say,
fans.
Did he fall out with them when he was there? Because I mean,
No.
that celebration is iconic. Probably
Yeah.
one of.
I
the
know,
most
but
iconic
I
of the
guess
league.
just to cement a
I think-
fallout with a old club.
They were singing that song obviously about his parents, weren't they? I think is what he said.
Right, okay.
I love that. So I remember watching it. It's one of those moments you
Yeah.
remember where you were, and I
He was
think,
booked for it, wasn't he?
of course, yeah.
I mean, what rule did he technically break?
Well, no,
I
but he
think
just
this
he
is
stayed
antagonising.
there. People are just chucking shit.
Yeah, he
at
didn't
him.
move,
He
did he?
didn't
Yeah.
move.
I think.
I love it.
I think he's another one who could have a tantrum, but again, fair play for that. I think
He
that
had
was
some goals in though. You watch some of his goals
Hell of a
back
career
there,
as well.
cracking
Sorry?
volley on
Yeah,
the
hell of
kid.
a career as well. He obviously
It is.
Arsenal, City,
City,
Spurs,
Spurs.
Real
Real
Madrid.
Madrid, yeah.
On that note, another one, famous fallout, Gareth Bale.
Yeah, it's great. Well,
I
the
think he just
fans
never
just
really
liked it,
fit
didn't
in, did he? He just almost had that element. He was just never. He was never seemed to be that fussed about it. So he was.
Like those goals
But
in the
toward-
Champions League final.
They were a cheat
if
code.
he-
Ronaldo
my
and
goodness,
Bale
yeah.
were a cheat code.
If
They
he
were so
played
good.
for any other club in the world, he would be
God.
treated as he'd be treated as a legend, as a god. I know they had Ronaldo at the time, but if you look at the goals he scored and the games he scored them, I can't believe how he's.
He had everything: power, pace, precision. He was an absolutely sensational
I
player.
remember that,
As
it was
soon as he left Spurs, I loved him.
It was like one game though, wasn't it, against Inter Milan? He just like tore
Yeah.
Maicon apart. Didn't
Oh,
he?
That's
And
when he
after that,
entered-
mate, it was just.
It was the goal he scored, but like you say, he ripped past Michael, and he was at such a tight angle. He lashed it across the goal, and the keeper just went.
He
Well,
retired Mike
just-
on that day.
Yeah, he scored 2 in the game which were identical almost, weren't
He
they?
was
Most
down
of
there,
the
and lashed it
minutes.
across the goal. Yeah.
And I remember that goal in Copa del Rey final
Yeah.
when he
Oh.
ran off the pitch.
Marcus
Yeah.
Beretta?
Yeah.
Something, he went round him.
I thought he messed it up when he comes
Just
back
snuck
in.
it in.
Like he almost came. I think he came back in too much, and then I was like, "Oh God, what's he
That's,
done?" And then he
that's
just.
He was
another
struggling
moment
at
I
Spurs,
remember
wasn't he?
well, wasn't he? Sorry?
He was struggling at Spurs for ages. He didn't.
Didn't
Yeah.
he can they'd lost every game, didn't he? When
Yeah,
Redknapp came
yeah, they
in?
went. I swear it was like 30 games. They
Yeah.
hadn't went like when he was playing. They hadn't won.
And then that Inter game, they just turned up and-
It's before that he started winning because Redknapp came in to see how good he was.
Yeah,
Someone said, "Oh, you can't play him."
he was at
And
left
Redknapp
back.
was like, "Rubbish! You've seen how good he is. He's playing." And then all of a sudden he gets moved further forward, and he's just a different.
I thought that Inter game was what kicked them on, but maybe that's
No,
if they
it's
weren't
before
before
that.
that. But because they were losing that Inter game 2-0, and they turned it around, didn't they?
No, I think they lost 4-3 in that game in the end.
Did they?
I think they still lost that
a little
game.
while-
They still
Oh,
lost that
yeah.
game.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
I thought they turned it around, but maybe not.
But didn't they? I can't remember if they went. Did they win the home tie?
Yeah, I think they won the second.
Because
leg.
I think those
Well,
3 away
they turned the
goals
whole
were
tie
crucial.
around. They might
Yes,
turn. Might,
yeah.
I must be thinking
I
they
miss
turned the
away
whole
goals.
tie around.
Yeah, away goals I think did make it more interesting. But Peter Crouch again. I know I'm saying a lot of players, but Peter Crouch said before it'd be like trying to get Ronaldo to play fullback. You're never going to see the best of him. You need him in that further forward. I mean, I remember that goal he scored against Stoke when he was still number 3.
Oh my goodness! And then the
volley.
heart celebration.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That
he
was-
seemed
that-
to score against you as well. I remember
Yeah.
a few goals against you.
He scored.
Um,
He did score quite a few times too, and he
Incredible.
scored against us on his return as well.
Yeah.
Was that the one we hit the post and like tapped it around post and then tapped it on
So
the
he
line or
scored.
something?
He scored a header against us at St Mary's. Then in the reverse, he scored from miles out again in off the post,
Yeah.
1-0.
before he left.
And
I
then
remember
that was
cutting
before.
and, yeah, that
And
was
then he returned
Yeah.
all those seasons later and scored again to win it 1-0.
But don't forget, Lavio was a better player than him coming through Saints, is what you said the other week, Kickers.
No, I didn't.
Stumped him.
I didn't. I
How
said
dare you put
Lavia
words
was
in his
in my
mouth.
top, certainly in my top 5. I think Gareth is probably just ahead of him.
Just.
But I guess.
At the time of Saints, yeah.
But
So
I
had-
only saw him as a 17, 18-year-old
Yeah,
in the
I-
Championship for Saints.
touching on this, what we're talking about, but Trent for you, Chalky, sort of fell out of the club for the fan base.
Yeah.
Just the fans being
Yeah.
Liverpool fans, really.
If he,
Did Trent? I mean, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
well, did you see how well he spoke Spanish in
Yeah.
his
Well,
Oh, I'm
it's-
sorry. Are you
Yeah.
seriously going to slag a player off for learning Spanish when you're moving to Spain? I mean, come on.
I don't know about how long's he been like.
That's a
Yeah,
couple
but
of
like,
years,
how-
isn't
there's
it?
a lot of
No, that
like,
speech was very short. He could have just learned that speech.
there's a
I
lot of
think it was.
speculating.
I feel it's a
here.
lot
No,
of the
because
press
he
conference.
even said something along the lines of like, "I've been waiting for this to move for like I've been waiting a long time for this," and then he sort of like went back on himself and he was like,
2 months.
I've only for a few months sort of thing.
Thing is, you can want to move to a club, but all he was asked for, he said, "Could you see you're spending your entire career at Liverpool?" He said, "Oh yeah, I could see it." He didn't say I'm going to. He said he could see it. Because if Real Madrid never come in for him, he's not going to go.
Real
It's all
Madrid.
about the past.
But Real Madrid are going
like,
to take we had Ancelotti at Everton. I loved having Ancelotti as manager. But as soon as Real Madrid come in, it was gone.
No,
Real Madrid have a pull that
if
no
you
other
read-
club has.
He's had all
you
his
read-
interviews as
that's
well.
fair
Like,
if you read Ferguson's book, Ancelotti masterminded his own exit. So I'm not as big a fan of him anymore.
He still speaks so well about us.
he
Carry
had
on
those
that
interviews as
trend,
well, didn't he? Where he was like it's something like. Would you ever go to like Real Madrid or Barcelona? That he was like, they can buy me on FIFA or something like that.
Yeah, but that was a few years previous.
Yeah,
Wasn't it?
and like he's always like back like Messi and Barca and that, and now he's gone to Madrid as well.
Do you think if he would have handled it differently and said at the start of the season, "Look, this is my last season,"
Yeah, I do.
do you
honestly
think he'd be treated differently?
Yeah, I do.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I think they would always been bitter about him leaving. He was.
I think it would have been. You would have got some bit of fans because you always do, don't you? But I think
the
majority of people have a bit more respect for it. Like
I
this is
think
my last
it's-
season.
a lot of you defended him so much when he was at Liverpool and he had a few dodgy games or got beat a bit too easy. No, he's great defensively. There's a complete rumour that he's pulled it. So they backed him to the hill, admittedly so well, but then as soon as they leave, they're just like, "How dare you betray us?"
I still stick by my guns. I still think he's scrutinised more than any other fullback.
That's because he's so much worse at defending than every other fullback.
Can I just
I
say?
think you got Kyle Walker, even Reece
Yeah,
James.
but
is
Carl
suspect
Walker
at
can
times.
recover with his pace, so he doesn't look as bad. Again,
Kyle
because
Walker
he's
was a
so
better
athletic.
defender than what Trent is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not betting that, but I still think Trent gets scrutinised a lot more than any others. Like
I think
because
Reece
I say
so that-
James and Kyle Walker, they both fall asleep at the back post so many times as well. But it's not looked upon as Trent.
I
think
would
he's
say
set- think he's set a
Reece
high bar.
James is a better
No,
defensive
he's
fullback
left
than Trent.
Liverpool. I can make this point, but do you think that's because he's so good going forward?
Yeah,
You
I
think?
do. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Because
because there's
I
such a
think-
discrepancy in his ability going forward and his ability coming
But-
back.
He wouldn't be in the team if he wasn't that good going forward. Like if you took all his attack, I know in the modern game you can't, but if you took all his attacking attributes away, just defend, he's not making your
He
team.
wouldn't be a championship player.
Seems a bit harsh,
Oh,
but
that is harsh.
um,
I get upset to hear that Trent gets such a hard time.
I don't.
Okay, well I'm not that upset, but I get frustrated. I get frustrated to hear it because he has every right to want to have a change in direction of his career. He achieved everything at Liverpool. For me, I think he's behaved in a perfectly professional manner in a modern day age.
I think I disagree with that.
No,
I actually
don't.
agree. I think he's done nothing wrong. I
I
wouldn't
think
say
he knew
he's
what
done
he
everything he
was
could do, but
I
I wouldn't
think-
say he's done anything wrong.
Yeah, but
We don't know what happened behind the
I'm
scenes.
sorry, but Real Madrid
But
are.
he could have said to Liverpool, "I want to go to Madrid." Whether he did or not, if he did, then fair play. I hold my hands up. But to sort of semi-string the club along.
But you
it's
don't
what,
know that he
it's what I
did.
criticised Calvert-Lewin for at the start of the episode.
Yeah, but if you said
You don't know that he did. You don't know.
No, that's what I said. If
the club
There's a lot
chose
of
not to come
speculating.
out and say it, what was he going to do? Go, yeah, by the way, I'm leaving. I've told them, but they haven't told you for some reason. It's not
I think I do think it depends on when, because let's face it, no one knows actually what the conversations were behind closed doors. Like if they offered him a new contract, let's say 2 years ago, and he said, because there's rumours apparently Real Madrid said if you sign a new contract, we're not paying it. You've got to basically come on a free, or we're not interested.
it's football. At the end of the day, it's football. Liverpool fans don't like it because, yes, he's one of their own. You've done it to many other clubs, my club included. Adam Lallana is an example, who's recently retired. He was an academy player of ours. He meant a lot to us. Liverpool snapped him up.
Harvey Elliott, they did to Fulham.
It's a part of football. It's horrible. It doesn't happen very often to Liverpool fans. Get over it, okay?
Yeah.
Preach.
That's
Yeah.
me preaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do
Suck
think
it
it
up.
depends on, like I say, what them conversations were behind closed doors.
There's
Like,
too
say,
many leaks
fans-
though, like for
Yeah.
Benzia Romano, and
Yeah.
that
I mean,
it would have come out.
you
If
just-
something was said, I think it would have
I
come
mean,
out.
Yeah.
I'd say I agree with Jack. I don't think he did anything wrong. You can't go and say, "Oh, he should have this." Should have. At the end of the day, he made his decision. He did. He's moved. It's again, like you say, Liverpool don't have to go through that very often, but. Yeah, it's his choice. It's his career at the end of the day. Imagine if we were talking about a guy moving from Esso to Texaco, who's going to give a crap? You're moving one company to another. That's what football clubs are.
But he shows the respect to Liverpool. You can see his love for the club. That will never change. He will always look back. When he's finished at Madrid, he will always look back fondly on his Liverpool career, and he will support that club. You
Will
can't
he get a
blame
good
him.
reception if Real Madrid play Liverpool Champions
No,
League?
no.
I didn't get a good reception when he was wearing a Liverpool
reception.
shirt.
Luis Suarez.
Which is-
Luis Suarez didn't get a great reception when he came from Barca.
Yeah, and he did great for you. And he how much was he sold
I think
for?
that's more like that one there. I think it's more like they wanted to win that game and just intimidate players. Like, it was just booed. Like,
Surely you're not going to
everyone.
intimidate Suarez. He had the mentality of I don't care. I'm the best. I'm going to do what I want.
Yeah.
Animal,
But it didn't
literally
work.
biting people.
It worked though, didn't it?
So
Yeah.
just
if anyone's a
finally-
rat, it's Suarez.
Just finally, the last person I've got is Neil Maupay.
he's just a
My
Shit
problem.
So
with
Neil
him-
Maupay, is he on your free agent list?
No,
no.
I think
He's not
Very
free.
nice.
They've got
He's
an
a free
obligation to
agent.
buy. No, they've got an obligation to buy. At
Yeah.
no point will he be a free
no,
agent.
yeah, he'll be sold.
Yeah.
yeah.
We got money
Wow.
out of him. We got money out of him.
About 10 million we're getting for him.
Yeah.
Which is well,
10 million more than he's worth.
I was going to say yes, 10 million too much. Yeah.
well done Everton for that.
Yeah.
I just think if I take the emotion out of it, to start tweeting about a club that
Still own.
you're
you're
contracted
yeah.
to, saying, "Oh, good, you'll see you in the Championship," and
That's
Cheers,
Whenever I have
Cheers
a bad
me
day,
up.
I just look at the Everton results and it cheers me
Yeah.
up. Stuff
Which-
like that.
ironically, since he tweeted that, we then got Moyes in and done quite well. So
And he's
yeah, and
losing.
you haven't heard him since.
and he hardly played a game and things. So Neil Maupay.
And good luck finding a new club as well, because
I don't-
no one wants to
I
take
don't
on an
even
attitude
think
like that.
it's Marseille's, that isn't it? I don't even
Yeah.
think they want to keep him. So.
No, they were obligated to pay 10 mil.
It says
They'll be lucky to
something.
get three if they sell him.
It says something. You've got Mason Greenwood in the club, and Maupay's still the biggest wanker. So
I think I may hate more, but that's a stretch.
yeah, well, I feel very strongly about Greenwood. I can't stand him, but that tells you.
You hate him more.
It's
I
just
think
a
he's-
lack of respect.
I think he's
Why-
just. I
why is
think
he
what
like
it
that?
was is he just likes to be in the papers. He likes to be a bit of centre of attention, and he just decides to try and be an idiot.
it's
And he's got
probably-
no skill to back it up.
It's probably not even him. He probably employs people to do it, but
I doubt it.
So why
It's not that important.
is he like that with Everton fans? Have they given him shit over the years? Or
I think he got a bit of stick at the end because he was just crapping.
The
with us.
problem
he scored
is-
one goal.
Everton fans did back him, and then he wasn't playing great. He wasn't scoring goals, but then he would start to argue with the fact. I think there's a famous clip at a train station of him arguing with someone, but he was giving it out, and then fans have given it back. I'm not saying the fans are innocent. I'm not saying he was innocent. But if you're going to start giving it back, you need to expect a bit back.
Yeah.
Same with the fans. They need to then
Absolutely.
expect it
You
back.
can't start arguing with 40,000 people in a stadium and expect to win because you're going to have 40,000 people shouting at you that you're wrong.
Was that a train station? I mean,
Well, yeah, I know.
I think if I remember the clip, some of what the people were saying wasn't great. The only caveat to that I would say is, I think it was Fulham we played. People have travelled down from Liverpool, paid all the money on the train, on tickets, potentially hotels, and then to play like Morpay does with no pride, no passion. It's
frustrating to watch.
He gets
to a point anyway. He's just trying to one people up though, doesn't he? Like,
what would be funny now is after he said he'd see Everton in Championship, if he now ended up in the Championship.
Good luck getting a Championship move.
Wrexham, they'll take anyone to get a bit of pull, wouldn't they?
He's got good social media.
I mean, look,
Saints
to be fair,
game of the season.
He was prolific in the Championship, but we're talking 6-7 years ago. I don't think he gets a Championship move now.
I think Brentford didn't want to keep him, did they? Brighton didn't want him. Everton didn't want him. He's not good.
I mean, you argued for him, saying that we didn't play to a style that suited him. Which
to start with, I give him the benefit of the doubt, which I think most people should do.
Yeah.
But
what do you think of Saints Wrexham first game of the season?
Buzzed by that. Yeah, really exciting. And that's a taste.
I might get
That's a
tasty
for opening game fixture against the
Did anyone call that?
and Rob McElhenney?
You didn't call it. You made a joke in the chat about it. That's not calling it.
Did I say first game of the season?
He did call it. I can't.
That's
can't
not a call. You can't go. Who have you got, Wrexham? I called it.
I think it's a fairly safe bet because most of Wrexham's games will be on TV.
Yeah,
it just seems to be the way. I would be shocked if they're not the most televised club in
the Championship. I would,
Birmingham might be up there as well.
Yeah.
I think it depends. Obviously, towards the latter end, it's depending on, the relegation, playoff picture, and the title race. But certainly they're going to be the club. People are really interested and intrigued.
I can't see Ipswich doing very well in the Championship next. So I think they'll falter.
Ipswich, they've got. I would say they've got possibly one of the best Championship squads I've ever seen.
Yeah, but
I can't.
I agree with you, Hickers.
No, You're
delusional.
We'll see.
I think they'll. If they're lucky, they'll get back in the playoffs. But I just have a feeling they'll drop again.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We will put a poll out on that as well. How well do you think the 3 relegated teams will do? And early to say it, but who do you think will go up? And then we'll touch on that a bit next week.
I don't think Ipswich even won a home game in the Premier League, did they?
Yeah, they did.
They did. They beat Chelsea.
Yeah.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure. There was only. I'm pretty sure it is only.
Because I was speaking to an Ipswich fan, and he said he'd gone to every home game, and he never saw one, unless he missed the Chelsea game. But
he must have missed it on a holiday. But we are going to end that there this week's episode, lads. Thank you for watching. Please follow us on X and all this stuff I say every week.
Twitter, YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah, all that bollocks. It'll be underneath the episode. But thank you, gents, and we'll see you next week.
Look forward to arguing with people on TikTok.
Hopefully. Goodbye.